Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Cinema.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we're taking a look at Alubari, A Nice Cup of Tea.
Which is this game right here, which is published by Studio H and designed by Tony Boydell.
It plays from 1 to 5 players in about 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah, that is correct. So Alubari, we have heard about this game for many years. And finally,
you have.
I have, yeah, I'm saying we because
Yes.
trying to get you into the loop of pretending to know things about board games.
Yeah, I know all about this.
You know about games after you play them. You don't know about other games when you play them. Or and you know that that's wrong. But you don't know a lot about games before you play them. But I have heard about this game for quite a few years. This started out because this is kind of Snowdonia 2.0. If you haven't played Snowdonia, we're not going to talk too much about it. Probably going to do some comparisons later in the video. But Snowdonia is a train, like it's not a train game, but you're building train lines and station buildings and trying to remove rubble so that you can build these tracks throughout Snowdonia. And this was supposed to be an expansion, but after a while it ended up being different enough, so they made kind of this new game, which could basically be said that it's a standalone expansion, because it kind of is a lot of the same game in here with some tweaks, some streamlining and some additions. So we will talk about in this review if you think that is good changes or not. So Alubari, A Nice Cup of Tea. What you're doing in this game is that you are building tracks throughout India. You are building tracks, you are removing rubble from tea plantations to buy those tea plantations to be able to harvest tea, and you also want to build different buildings along the way of the trailer, the tracks, to be able to score the most victory points. You can get some equipment, some trains, some other stuff that will help you. In its core, it's a worker placement game. So you're probably going to have, for the most part, 2 workers each round, and some rounds you're going to be able to have the 3rd worker. You can pay him out after you get some equipment to be able to pay some tea to be able to use your 3rd worker each round. You're going to place your workers, and then after everybody has placed all their workers, you are going to do the actions from A to E, which are different actions which will get you more resources. It will make you be able to transform the resources into the iron you need for the rails and stone you need to build buildings. You will be able to dig away and do shovel actions, digging out all the rubble in the tea plantations. You will then build buildings, you will get equipment, you will get some mission cards, which will give you a one-time special ability and also different ways you can score points at the end of the game. And you're just going to continue doing that until you have built the whole track. Every round you're drawing new resources, and there are going to be some white cubes, which are the horrible game cubes, which will do events, which will basically push the game forward and make the game go forward if the players doesn't do it, so it doesn't drag too much. Because if everybody just want to do everything, it's going to be a super long game, so you are forced to continue moving along the rails and doing better things and moving towards the end of the game, because if you don't do it, the game will, and it will take away points from you. So that's basically an overview. Let's talk about the rulebook. What do you think about the rulebook?
I don't know. I haven't read it.
No, it is actually quite a simple game. Now, the gameplay in itself is more like in the medium range, but the game, like the rules, is really simple. So in this game, this is basically a really short rulebook. You have the setup, which is great. It has great pictures and everything, and basically the whole rulebook is then 6 pages. It's 2 pages here, 2 pages here, and then 5 pages, and the last page is just end of the game. So 5 pages of rules and then the end of the game scoring. And some, of course, like the index and all the different appendixes at the back of the game rulebook. It's a really solid rulebook. We do know Snowdonia, which has a lot of similarities too, so it made it easier to get into the rulebook. But it's a pretty straightforward rulebook for a pretty straightforward game. Like, there's really no hurdles here. Nothing will be like, oh, how does that work? Most of it is really intuitive and really simple to understand.
Yeah.
So what do you think about artwork and components for Alubari? A nice cup of tea.
I think it's nice.
Like a nice cup of tea?
I think it's nice. Like a cup of tea. It's I think it works great. I think like the trails take some twists and turns here and there. I don't know. I don't think that is necessary.
Oh, that's more. I feel like that's more like an artwork decision more than a graphical design decision.
Yeah, it's not a problem, but
no.
Yeah,
it adds to. I'm guessing that like thematically maybe it is kind of like that rail is kind of more ups and downs and around the mountains and all of that.
Yeah, might be actually.
I haven't been there, so I don't know.
Yeah, but
Have you been there?
No, I haven't.
No,
we can't say
that.
anything about this.
No,
okay,
but the geographical thing here is that we don't know.
But it's nice. It looks great on the table. I think the
it's
workers.
It's a pretty huge board.
Yeah, it is. It takes a lot of space.
Yeah, it's big.
And I like these little workers that you have because they're actually meeples with they're digging in the ground.
And they're wooden. If you had a Snowdonia, it was plastic there. I like this better.
Yeah, these are cute.
But yeah, it looks nice. It has this kind of mellow art style. Kind of like, it feels kind of mellow, but it's nice, even though it's kind of not bright. You know, like it's not like a wow, colorful. It's more like of a dampened color scheme. But it feels really nice, and I think the artwork is beautiful.
Yeah, and when you compare it to Snowdonia, this is definitely an upgrade, artwork-wise.
I think it's kind of the same artwork, but it might be like the theme here. Because there's not so much artwork on the board in Snowdonia. That's true. But like the artwork on the cards and stuff, I think it's kind of the same style of art that Snowdonia have.
Yep.
So we have played this game at 3 and 4 players. We haven't played 2. And it takes about... the box says 60 to 90. I think 60 is more going to be a 2-player game. We played 2 hours with 4 players, but that has to be said that we were kind of tired at like the last game of the evening. But other than that, it's taken like an hour 20, an hour 15 minutes to play with 3 players.
Yeah,
doesn't feel too long. I think the 2-player or the 4 players for 2 hours was a bit long, but it was because of people were really starting to get tired and should have slept instead of playing board games.
Should have slept, yeah. Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot. Yeah, we should be sleeping.
We need to play another board game,
Yeah, but it doesn't overstay.
We should be robots.
It doesn't overstay its welcome for me, I think, because when you feel like, oh, maybe this is dragging now, then the game keeps on going with these event cubes. And I think that is a clever way to make the game not drag.
I think the game would be way too long, and also the pacing of the game would be really strange if you hadn't had those event cubes.
Yeah, I really like those.
They push you, and they're the same as in Snowdonia. Trying to not always talk about that, but it's really similar, which we have to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like I agree with you. It isn't too long. It's too short. Feels like a good length. Shouldn't be 2 hours, but 1.5 hour. I think is a great length for the game.
Yes, I agree.
And it's a pretty light game. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Like it's not a light game, it's like a lighter end of medium for me.
Yeah, and the rules isn't like the heaviest thing in this game. It's tight, like action-wise, and you have to like really... Okay, there's 2 spaces where I can dig. I really need to dig this round, but I also really fancy that scoring card over there. Okay, what do I... somebody can take up your spaces when you're busy doing other things. Somebody can snag those spaces that you really need. Yeah,
so I think that's kind of like most of the depth or most of the weight comes from the decisions and the timing. When do I want to do what? When do I want to... How important is it for me to get there now because I'm first player now? First player is important here.
Yeah.
If you always, in a 4-player game, if you always lost, you're going to have huge problems because the important spaces, like which are important for everybody, is going to fill up fast. So to do that, like worst of the resource action which it gives to the first player is really important.
Yeah, I think so. And the how good some of the actions are depends on the weather.
Yeah.
And that is the same for everyone. So there's going to be rounds where everyone's not going to be that keen on digging or building rails because of the bad weather, or like the opposite. So you really have to see, okay, what can I postpone to the next round and what do I have to do get done this turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think about replayability?
I'm not sure actually. There's some cards with the trains that doesn't come out every round.
It's one that doesn't come out.
Oh, that's not.
You use everybody except one. I'm pretty sure it's one that you don't use.
But there's some different strategies to go for. So I think it can like feel different if you're good at exploring this game. But what comes for the like variability is mostly like the scoring the cards parts, and also the weather.
Yeah, but that's not going to change the feel of the game, I feel like, the weather.
No, I think it will, because we experienced a lot of bad weather.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was...
it was really hard building rails.
It was never raining, basically, almost.
Yeah, it
was never sun.
It never was sun.
Yeah, I don't...
We had
a lot of
like rain, mist,
yeah.
mist.
That is true.
Something. Yeah.
No, it's not both of them, but yeah, some of them. One of them.
Yeah,
I agree that's going to change the gameplay. I agree on that. The thing that's going to change most is basically which of the scoring cards to go for. But most of them also have like these similar things.
Yeah.
So you're not going to feel like it's a completely different game. But some game you have to push harder to build a lot of rails, and some you're going to push harder in building a lot of buildings, and that's going to change the actions that you need, and all of that. It's going to be different. And yeah, I think the replayability is okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to change too much. It's not going to be a game where I feel like I can explore it after playing 10 times,
No,
I think.
that's true.
It's going to be, you have played it sometimes, and it's going to feel kind of the same.
Yeah.
Because the tea plantations that you put out are random, but that's not going to feel like, oh, now these have 5 rubble instead of 7. That's not going to change the game at all. So,
I agree.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about the gameplay. Like, and here it's going to be, of course, a lot of similarities, and talk about the differences to Snowdonia.
Yeah.
So this was supposed to be an expansion, but it's ended up being like its own game. But I feel like it could have been like called Alubari, a Snowdonia game, and be like a Snowdonia standalone expansion, because it feels more like if you take like Brass Birmingham and Brass Lancashire.
Yeah.
It feels kind of like that difference.
Yeah.
It's like they added a couple of different mechanisms.
Yes.
And changed a little bit of how the game plays.
Yeah, I feel like this is like Carcassonne Star Wars edition.
Yeah, it's kind of like because you fight and stuff. No, but yeah, I understand what you mean. Like, there's just a few different things. Like, let's talk about like the biggest thing that have streamlined. Basically, they made the game less mean to the players.
Yes.
Because in the Snowdonia game, you have the rubble that you are taking away is on the building spaces for different station cards.
Yes.
So you have to take those off before you can build on them. Here, that the rubble spaces is in its own track, doesn't have anything to do with the rails and the buildings. The rails will unlock where you can build, but these will only when you empty it, you will own that tea plantation, which is the only thing. That is kind of nicer. Also,
You think it's nicer?
Here?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because I totally disagree.
You do?
Yeah. I think it was nicer. We're using that term now. When the rubble... Well, okay, I think it's nicer. Yeah, I get what you mean. I just don't think it's better, but it's more nice.
Is that, we're talking about like the way
I agree.
streamlined
I just
it.
misunderstood your word use.
It's
nice.
nicer to the players, like as a streamlined...
It's not that mean.
It isn't as mean. Like, Snowdonia was never a mean game, but it has a lot more... I feel like a lot more in Snowdonia that everything was more tied together.
It's like intertwined. And...
another thing that's different here is that you have tea, which will make some of the actions better. But that's like a new mechanism, so it doesn't feel like it's changed anything. No. But I like that mechanism a lot. Like, you need to try to get those tea. You cannot... and the thing, you cannot not dig the rubble, because you need to own some of those tea plantations to be able to harvest tea leaves, to be able to turn that into tea. Because if you don't have chai, the tea, then you will have more problems than others, because you cannot ever do those like special super cool actions.
I think you could manage, but I would definitely never play without tea myself. No. I would go for those tea plantations because one, they're so easy to get, and two, they're so powerful to one player be sitting with all those alone, or two of the players. You have to give them some competition on that.
So another thing they have made kind of less mean is the fog. Because in Snowdonia, when the fog comes out, you cannot dig and you cannot build rail.
Yeah.
Here it's only doing it harder. So you take some action, block spaces, and makes it so that only one person can do it instead of 2.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nicer that way as well. I kind of like that, because that doesn't... it makes it so that the event cubes won't build the whole thing. Like, it makes it... if you get into a game where you get mist and a lot of mist, it's not going to be so much fun. If you cannot dig, you cannot build rails. Yeah. I think I actually like that better here, because you can do it, but you have to be fast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I see why they've done that, and I support that decision. I think...
Support the decision!
Yeah, but I think it's... In Snowdonia and also Alubari, it doesn't come like, whoa, it's sunny this turn. You have some time to plan. You can see like 2 turns ahead what weather there's going to be, so you can plan for this. So it won't come as a surprise when you can't dig or there's only one action space to dig. But in a 2-player game, then you block the whole space. Do you?
I don't remember.
No, because I was a little curious about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. But I see why they've done that, and absolutely that also makes the game like a little more fun when it's not that mean.
So basically I feel like a lot of the streamlining they have done had made the game kind of simpler in a way. If you know what I mean. Like Snowdonia was never a heavy game, still a very light medium game, but I feel like that the things they have done here, and which you will then see which will maybe be the best fit for you, because they are good games. Both of them are really good games, I think. But it will really depend on if you want kind of a nicer feels. It's not like a huge difference in the weight, but it is a bit, because it's streamlined that way. It feels a bit lighter.
Yeah,
you
I
agree?
Yeah, and I think this will find each like a place. Somebody will like Alubari better. Some will like what is it called?
Snowdonia
better. So I think that I myself, I don't see the need to own the both of them. No, because it's basically the same game. It's just 2 versions, like Bros, Birmingham, and Lancashire.
Which we own both because we like them both.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of bigger changes. It feels more like a Ticket to Ride and a more special Ticket to Ride map. Like it's like different rules, but kind of the same game.
Yeah, and I like some of the additions and some of the changes I don't like. Yeah.
So you like Snowdonia better?
Yeah, I do.
You would rather play Snowdonia?
I would rather play Snowdonia, and I think like the main component that I dislike about this is the tea plantation and the rubble being there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really interesting how you have to, in Snowdonia, most of the times you have to like, oh, I need to build these rails, but you're not removing those rubble in time, or the other way around. And then I need to like work on my strategies and get this going, and I feel like that is a bigger aspect in Snowdonia, and I really enjoy that, and I really miss this in Alubari. And while I think that tea is fun, I think it's fun.
Tea is fun. That's like a quote for this game. Tea is fun.
I like that you can use the chai or tea to upgrade your actions and hire the extra worker. I really like that, but how you can just use the beginning of the game just digging for that rubble to get that out of the way pretty easily. That's super easy. I'm not a huge fan of that, and I think that makes the difference for me what game I like the most.
Yeah, I agree. I think that feels like kind of, it's really disconnected now. It doesn't really have anything to do with each other. Other than that's where you get tea. So it's kind of, it's really disconnected, which I also don't like that too much.
And also it's one of the stations that you can build like
with tea leaves, at the beginning of the game.
But you don't need to dig anywhere for that. That is available from the beginning. And I also, I don't like how those things are separated. I'm sure there's a reason, but I really like the intertwinedness of Snowdonia better, because you had to think a little more about like which order you needed to do stuff in and how you're interacting with the other players. It's some of it here as well, but I liked the way it was done better in Snowdonia.
Cool. So do you want to do your final thoughts?
Yeah. Don't you? Won't you agree or disagree with me here?
Oh yeah, I feel like we have spoken a lot about all of the things.
Then I think you should do the final.
Okay, cool. I thought because you were
talking so much right now.
So much. Okay, yeah. So I like Snowdonia and I like this game. I think they're both great games. They're kind of the lighter medium games. It's like not too heavy, but it's still enough to think about. I think like which one you will like the most comes down to these changes basically. Yes. So if you're like, oh, I want to buy one of those, then go check out some more videos and watch some playthroughs and see like which one do you think will fit your desire to play, your preferences and your gaming group the most. For me, I also think like Snowdonia is kind of like getting the edge, but it's really close. I really like this. I agree with you, like the disconnection here is what makes it a tad bit less interesting to play. I think it's a really solid game. I enjoy it. For now, I want to keep them both, but we'll see how long you get to let me do that. I am going to rate this a 7. I think it's a good game, a game that I wouldn't mind playing if somebody wants to play it. But I think next time I'm thinking, like, should we play Alubari? I probably just want to play Snowdonia, because I just kind of feels like the same thing, but just has the edge for me. And that's my final thoughts.
Yeah, that was not like that disagreeing that I was thinking it would be. We actually agree more than I thought. Okay, so I've basically said what I wanted to say about the game. But
okay, thank you so much for watching.
It's a solid game. I think like the most things that I don't love this game is that I have Snowdonia. But in itself, like if I'm ignoring that Snowdonia exists right now, this is a solid game.
Yeah.
And I would play it. I'm having fun while playing it. But when I remember, oh, Snowdonia is a game, then I would rather play that. But I think, as I said, that you will find your favorites based on what you like and dislike and what you think fits your group the best. So I'm also going to rate it a 7. And that is because this is in itself a solid game.
It is, and it is 95% Snowdonia, basically.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the end of another review.
Yeah.
Yay! Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet. It's free, and if you click the bell button, you will get notifications every time we put out a video, which is usually 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you want to support us more, you can check our Patreon page, where you can give us money, which makes us happy and will make us travel more and make even better content for YouTube, because it's fun. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
And I'm Sunwa.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.